At mga kapuso, sa punto ito, makakasama naman natin si Malu Mangahas, ang Executive Director ng Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism o PCIJ. Hi, Ms. Malu. Good morning.
Gising pa kayo.
At kayo, gising na gising.
Wala mga mata.
Ms. Malu, I'm sure kayo throughout the day rin ay nagbabantay. Yes, at nagmo-monitor ng election. Ano naging assessment nyo?
Una muna, I think we should take this opportunity to say thank you sa lahat ng Board of Election Inspectors at mga teachers at mga police at sundalo, field at provincial regional officers ng COMELEC. Kasi parang wala ako nadidinig sa mga news programs na nagpasalamat sa kanila. And I think we owe it to them. And of course, secondary na mahalaga ang role, yung mga botante, lahat ng sumubok. Anyway, nagmo-monitor kami all day, pero talagang ang daming mga ibig sabihin yata nitong nagaganap na results. Mahirap basahin, pero mukhang malinaw na landslide ba? Landscape victory? Mayor Duterte. Parang gano'n, no? Partial unofficial.
Well, how would you define a landslide victory? No? Kasi si Pinoy won just over
30%.
40%. No?
Of the vote.
Si Duterte was wala pang 40% dun sa surveys. In fact, I think he was 33-35%. No? And people are saying hindi yun majority, no? Wala masyadong mandato yun despite the numbers that he attracted dun sa meeting, the advance niya. So, why did you mention the word landslide in this context?
Actually, yung huling survey, mga nasa 33-34% siya, no, ng percentage points. Now, he's hitting more than 37-38. I think so medumagdag siguro, sabi ng mga kwentuhan sa iba't ibang panel. Yung mga undecided, baka na swing or may mga phenomenal uptick even sa social media. Ang significant, very significant yung presence at saka yung following niya over the last week. Sa gitna ito ng mga puna na ibinabato sa kanya. And I think this is by far, given already na largest, siguro yung voter turnout, malaki din yung talagang lamang niya dun sa number 2. Kasi dati, kumbaga, parang between 1 and 2, significant yung difference. However, for himself and the number 2, 3, 4, actually pag pinagsama-sama mo pati si Senator Miriam, they have a lot more votes together than the votes that Mayor Duterte will ever get. So sabihin na natin parang doon sa 80% ang turnout, 55 million ng voters, ilan yon?
80% to 55 would
mga
be...
45 million siguro boboto. And if Mayor Duterte will be getting about 35-40% of that, so that means may mga 20 million. Still, a very impressive number. Pero hindi pa rin majority of total registered voters or total votes cast. Kasi malaki din yung natirang number 2, 3, 4.
Kaya may mga nagsasabi, we should in the future consider yung mga run-off elections between the two front runners para mas malinaw daw yung mandato ng mananalo.
Pero the fact that Senator Grace Poe had actually with a lot of grace conceded is so important kasi ibig sabihin ni-recognize niya somehow partial unofficial but the trend is there already.
I was actually about to ask that if you think that now is really the time for the other candidates to start giving out their statements and you know because na Senator Grace Poe already conceded, do you think that other statements, other candidates should come out now and make similar statements?
Actually, it's their option and that should, I think, be respected. The tack that Vice President Binay took. Kasi partial unofficial, hindi pa nga nagsisimula yung Board of Officers. Parang ganun. So talagang sa totoo lang, yung proseso hindi pa formal. Pero klaro din naman kasi everybody seems to believe ayos yung transmission ng mga results. So, hindi naman siguro mababago yun dun sa official na process.
Si Mayor Duterte, ma'am, yung kandidato na talagang kumontra sa lahat ng nakasanayan natin bilang botante at bilang publiko. Kumbaga, hindi siya yung madiplomasya. Siya yung tipong siya yung nagmumura. Hindi siya yung tipong nanliligaw sa entablado. Talagang kung ano sabihin niya. Pero bakit ho ganun?
How do you explain Duterte?
Charisma ba yun, ma'am?
Victory. Iba-iba yung campaign team niya was telling them kasi sabi ko parang talagang phenomenal din yung pagkatao niya as a candidate, di ba? Hindi siya miyembro ng majority party, hindi siya miyembro ng minority party. He's so unlike the others, di ba? Parang, yung iba kasi parang ito yung aking programa, ako'y mahusay na tao, may pangako ako sa inyo. Now, so many, it is really a story that has to be studied very carefully in the next 6 years kung bakit. Some of the persons I've talked to, yung mga political science professors, sabi nila parang, kasi ang kaibahan daw kay Mayor Duterte, he communicated quite well. Ako'y tao na may mga pagkukulang at kahinaan. I'm one of you. Whereas the rest were projecting themselves to be
the
bigger
perfect
men and women than they
candidate.
probably are or that they probably had delivered to the nation. So parang, I'm an ordinary Joe. I'm one of you. Hindi ko alam kung saan galing yon kasi parang yung sentiment is impatience with slow government, impatience maybe with the lack of results. And maybe people thought that this time we're bringing our own guy there. Now, the very worrisome thing there is, nag-cover na tayo ng ilang eleksyon, di ba? Maganda yung ligawan pagka-kampanya.
Ang
So we're
importante.
electing a candidate. But once the candidate takes over, we are actually dealing with a president. And I think yun yung difference. Ang daming napangako ni Mayor Digong. Although by many accounts of his own people or people who are not with him, he works hard, he reads, he studies hard. He's someone of, I told his campaign team, a guy who demonstrates reckless imprudence resulting in mayhem all the time. Parang tipong sabi, pucha, kundi murder, mayhem ang mangyayari dito. Sabi, oo nga, no, nakakatawa yan ah. Kasi parang he talks really,
As he
he
feels
shoots
it,
himself in the foot, in the mouth, wherever, parang gano'n. Yung authenticity na ako to, hindi ko babaguhin. Yun lang nga, pag presidente na siya, hindi pwedeng candidate
Parating.
din na nililigawan tayo.
Na ganun
Because
pa rin.
now, we will demand results. And my dilemma sa kanya is, he says he will enforce discipline, pero siya parang, will that discipline also apply to him? Halimbawa, receiving gifts under Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act,
Will he do the same?
possible problem.
Okay. Ma'am Malu, I wanna go back sana to the numbers kasi tinitignan ko kanina, di ba, yung 14 million for Duterte, 8 million Rojas, 8 million po.
Pag
And I
inad mo
go
yun.
back to what President Aquino was asking for, right? Before
Unity.
elections, the call for unity. Kasi if you add it up nga, let's say Rojas and Po, 8 plus 8, 16, malalamangan
more
nila
than-
si Duterte. So, may punto nga ba si Pangulo Aquino doon? Or hindi rin naman kasi necessarily na mapupunta lahat, di ba, yung boto
Kay
to
Mar or
whoever
kay Grace.
President Aquino would have,
Pero Mamalu, Pia,
Push
bago nyo po sagutin yan, ay dumako muna tayo sa Cebu at tingnan natin kung paano binoto ng Cebu Province sa mga presidential candidates nung 2004 elections. Nanalo rito si dating Pangulong Gloria Arroyo. Nung 2010 naman, nanalo rito ang tambalang Noynoy at Mar. Malaki ang lamang. As of 1 a.m. with 90.29% of election returns processed, number 1, Duterte. Number 2, Rojas. Number 3, Po. Number 4, Binay. Number 5, Defensor Santiago. At dating sinuportahan po ng One Cebu, si Binay bago bumitaw at kumampi kay Duterte. Ang mga ninuno ni Duterte ay galing sa Cebu. Maaari nyo po yung i-access sa GMA News Online. Punta lang po sa www.gmanews.tv/election 2016/results. Yan.
Alright, so...
Balik po tayo.
may commercial break. Parang may commercial break
May
lang.
sumingit lang.
Kasi tama po ba?
Habulin ko lang yung sa Cebu,
yung sa Cebu.
ano?
Apa.
Parang, I don't think the political history recent would show that no admin party has won in a
Cebu.
presidential election. People really would opt for change.
That's true, no?
Isa
The
yun
past
sa
few presidencies were...
Now, I
that
don't know
way.
the proposition na mag-unite kasi tama si Pip. Baka naman di mapunta kay Mario yung boto, baka hindi naman mapunta kay
Kay Grace
Grace yung
po.
boto. But I think one question that was raised there by the Pope camp and Chief Escudero also, and for negotiation ba, ang kung sino dapat maging Pangulo o dapat ang mga taong bayan at botante ang magdesisyon?
Pumili.
Okay. Well, siguro, you were mentioning also, Ma'am Malu, yung parang... yes,
Oo,
parang
Ma'am Pia.
just out of respect rin. You were mentioning yung parang you're talking to the camp of Duterte, parang trying to analyze the kind of candidate that he was, and then our expectations now, when he, assuming that, once the results become official and the trend stays and continues, what are the expectations? Parang he set the bar higher than previous candidates or previous administrations.
Yeah. And I think doon siya baka kailangan, kasi nakita ko siyang in-interview kanina eh. Suddenly you see a man who's more mellow,
Yes.
who's more measured sa kanyang pananalita,
Healing
who
yung
tells
mensahe
people
niya.
na parang I'm extending the hand of friendship. Now I have to think about who should be my cabinet members, lalo na minention niya defense, finance, trade, parang napakahalaga daw nun. So parang I think it's really towards projecting himself now as a president who will deliver on his promises. Medyo marami lang siyang naipangako at maikli yung deadline na binigay niya sa sarili niya.
Okay, balikan lang natin yung sinabi mo kanina na one possible formula for his victory was he communicated well, no? If that's true, parang may bagong modelo for political communication because he actually shocked a lot of people during his campaign with his community. And then, of course, ngayon parang may global notoriety na tong rape joke niya, no? And then itong promise niya to to kill so many people, so many suspects, and then I suppose does this signify an evolution ng ating political communication? He wasn't really explaining platforms or positions niya during the debate. He was actually more of a jokester, no? Throughout the campaign.
Ang una, I think for all the candidates sa presidency at saka vice presidency, we saw through the advertising eh. And we talked to the ad agents, the creatives, and we were telling them nga parang, asan yung truth in advertising? Kasi political branding ang nangyari. Sa lahat halos sa kanila. In fact, hindi nga unique or nuanced yung branding kasi lahat sila mahalang mahirap, lahat sila galit sa corruption, lahat sila gagampan ng napakadaming mga pangako. So parang walang uniqueness. Duterte is so different. I'm not saying na parang he's the best of the lot, but he distinguished himself differently. Kasi parang, hindi, 75 lang ang grade ko nga eh. Hindi naman ako cum laude. Pareho lang tayo. So parang, I think that is a throwback somehow to the way Joseph Estrada
Yes.
projected himself before. Na parang, may kasalanan ako, oo nga, umiinom ako, nagsusugal ako, meron akong mga girlfriends. Contrition is there. I mean, parang a candor, in fact, na parang maybe too bad, in a bit of an excess of candor. Pero parang umaamin. But the others should never hear it from them. Na
Pero
parang,
iba, yung sinasabi mong candor and authenticity, marami
Sa
din-
messaging.
Oo
I'm
nga,
not
pero
saying
marami
na
din nagsasabi na he's not really serious about
Exactly.
this is all theater, this is all just for the campaign. Pag upo niya, he's going to be more sober. So, nasa yung authenticity no, when people actually doubt that he's going to do what he says.
By authenticity, dahil ibig sabihin is yung parang tipong ramdam ng tao na parang siya yun. Hindi ibig sabihin na yun yung totoo. Hindi yung truthfulness about it. So parang, so kung ba authentic meaning, di ba?
It's his personality.
All good
Parang he's not
communication
trying to
is sharing a
Hindi siya
thought.
plastic.
The thought is clear.
Hindi kaya
Hindi
Alright.
yung-
Opo.
Okay,
Anyway,
sige. But to make our discussion even more lively, okay, makakasama rin po
nagigising
natin
tayo.
oo, ngayong madaling araw para lalo pang himayin
Ang
no,
pagod na pagod.
yung mga issue at mga pangyayari ngayong araw ng eleksyon. Ang election lawyer na si Attorney Nikki De Vega. Attorney, good morning.
Good morning.
Good
sa inyo
morning.
lahat.
Thank you for
Morning na.
joining us. Eto, attorney, narinig nyo na yung umpisa ng aming diskusyon. Pero eto siguro we'll try and veer it in another direction, no? Kasi we'll go to the issue na, well, the fact that this is the third time that we have practiced automated elections in the country. Kanina, si Commissioner Gia was saying parang we've fared better this time around compared to 2010 and 2013. Even yung PPCRB, parang yun yung sinasabi nila eh. Parang nasatisfy naman sila. Pero sa tingin nyo ho ba, because of what happened today, no? Gamay na nga ba talaga ng mga botante yung automated elections? Ako napansin ko yung iba, madali na silang nagmamarka ng kanilang balota. Alam na nila kung paano ipasok. Except siguro dun sa voter's receipt, baka nagkalituhan.
Yes, sa nakita naman sa ground, no, na mas nagkaroon ng awareness din ng mga tao, mas mabilis. Even yung mga lawyers na kausap ko, sabi nga nila, mukhang obsolete na tayo dito Kasi parang wala nang gulo Dati kasi pag kami lawyer, bakbakan kami even sa level ng BEI dahil ang dami talagang aberya, ang daming room for improvement. Pero ngayon talagang sinasabi, tinetext ako ng mga kaibigan kong lawyer, wala na akong ginagawa dito, Nikki, nakaupo na lang. Kasi syempre, of course, computer, no, ang hirap na i-dispute. And second, wala nang pre-proclamation controversy. Kasi dati yun ang kainitan, ang pre-proclamation controversy, yung appreciation, preparation, transmission of the election returns, and the certificate of canvass. So doon pa lang nagkakagulo na. And right now, we also predict na kukonti ang magiging election protest kasi usually ganun din yan after the fact, after proclamation, may karapatan mag-file ng mga election protest ang mga kandidato within 10 days from proclamation for most officials. So ngayon para nakita natin na wala masyadong basihan kasi pag mag-election protest ka, ang basihan mo fraud, irregularities in the proceeding, pero nakita mo parang although before may parang mind conditioning na may mga nangyayaring kalokohan, pero on the actual na ng voting, nakita mo wala naman lumalabas talaga na nag-iiba yung boto, di ba? Parang speculation lang dati. At naging smooth naman yon. So, we are very happy for that, no? Na nakita namin na hindi na masyado kailangan ng intervention naming lawyers sa ganitong eleksyon.
Okay, that's reassuring to hear, no? Pero yun nga, because in the weeks and months leading up to election day, ang daming ang mind conditioning na magkakaroon ng massive dayaan, may magkakaroon ng conspiracy in terms of the software and all that. And then at the start of the day, I mean, at the middle of the election day, may mga balita na may mga nawawalang
BCM,
pangalan,
diba?
nagkaka-breakdown yung BCM, ang tagal bago mapalitan. And so, you're saying these are mostly isolated incidents. Kasi there's, I guess, two ways of looking at it. No, it's half empty or half full situation. So I guess it's a more optimistic view. But because there have been problems throughout the day.
Pero ang maganda kasi, yung COMELEC also attempted to troubleshoot all these. Meron nga siya nilabas na resolution ng contingency procedures. So sinubukan niya talaga isipin ano bang mga pwedeng aberya, anong pwedeng gawin na solusyon. So at least medyo naging mabilis ang response time. Hindi yung tao nagtataka or BI, what will we do? At malaki rin na naging suporta ng merong hierarchy. May VCM technician, may VCM technical coordinator, may NTSC. Talagang, kumbaga, nag-effort, no? Nakita naman natin yon na at least for the third na automated elections natin, kumbaga napapractice natin at gumagaling na tayo kada eleksyon.
Kumbaga parang ang lumalabas sa nangyari kanina, yung unless talaga matinding karahasan yung nangyari, yung po yung makakapigil Pero kasi kung masira lang yung VCM, magmamanual yung mga botante. Pero ang question nga kung tama ho ba yun or legal po ba yung ginagawa ng ibang BIs?
Oo. Kasi pag nag-breakdown daw ang VCM, let's say 60 minutes daw continuous, habang inaayos or nagre-request for replacement, the voters have the option to either wait for the replacement VCM or hanggang maayos or mag-fill up sila, tapos iiwanan na lang nila, iba-batch feed ng BEI. So that is actually the contingency procedures ng COMELEC and that is legal.
Pero ako ang gusto ko din makita pa yung susunod na mga araw na magkakaroon ng klarong report. Kasi ang question talaga is, siyempre madaling ibalita na may mga aberya. Kanina sinusubok kong bilangin kung ilan yung BCM na nasira kasi na-misfeed yung papel. Ibig sabihin, hindi yung makina yung may problem, yung proseso dahil kumbaga human intervention. Parang, at walang may kasalanan nun. Talagang siguro, ang hirap naman yung papel, nakapaliko-liko, etc. Pangalawa, yung sinasabi nilang baka yung humidity o yung temperatura, parang gano'n. Kasi lahat ng machines, wala naman talagang perfect. Hindi sa eleksyon lang, parang gano'n. Yung human intervention, the more it is there, the more likely may posible mangyari, computer man yan, o cellphone, etc. Pero, ang gusto ko makita yung magnitude. Kasi kanina, ang sabi ng COMELEC, 150 VCMs, ang pinalit, nagkaroon ng replacement. 92,000 units yan. Noon daw 2013, parang mga 300 plus, 350, which means double the number ng mga PICOs at the time. So hindi ko alam kung yung magnitude na yon is small enough compared with the total number of voters affected, dun sa mga nasiraan ng BCM o naantala. yung botohan. Kasi doon mo lang din malalaman kung kunyari 80% turnout. Ilan yung affected nung ganong mga pangyayari at nagka-opportunity ba for fraud? Kasi dun sa bandang huli, ang mga taong bayan magdedesisyon kapani-paniwala, katanggap-tanggap ba yung resulta. So I'd rather wait for the real reports on field kasi marami na tayo nakitang.
Even naman si Commissioner Gia, di ba, ang sabi niya parang lahat naman ito preliminary at kailangan pa nilang pag-aralan. Pero attorney, gusto ko lang din malaman, kayo po ba personally sa tingin nyo, parang naging mas madali yung paggamit ng VCM as compared to yung PICOS?
Yes, mas madali, no? Kasi right now, siguro na-verify din nila at yung mga transmission at maraming mga backup and redundant procedures na in-implement for this time, no? Kasi hindi lang doble, triple, di ba? Pagka yung sa VCM mo, may dalawang SD card, meron pang scanned image of the ballot sa loob, no? Tapos pang transmission mo, 3 transmission, central server, transparency server, Comelec, and then meron ka ding mga physical SD card, no? So siguro on that score, talagang mas naging madali, mas naging transparent din sa mga tao. And you could see also sa yung confidence ba ng tao tumaas sa ating election. Kasi normally, sa practice namin, by this time, ang maingay na sa mga dayaan. Marami na nag-iingay ng ganun At mga lawyers, away-away na. Oo, mga lawyers kami nagpe-prepare na ng pleading. Talagang wala nang tulugan dahil pero ngayon hindi ganun kaingay tulad ng dati. So I think tumaas ang confidence level talaga sa ating automated election.
Nakatulong ba yung pagbibigay ng receipts? Kasi naging contentious issue yan, ano?
I think nakatulong yun, no? Kasi, kumbaga,
Nako-confirm
it's so hard to cry foul na parang, kasi hindi tulad sa pag wala kang resibo, tapos lumabas sa presinto, ang total sa election returns hindi ayon sa gusto mo, madaling magreklamo, parang feeling mo you were cheated. Pero ngayon, parang hindi na kasi, lumabas talaga kung sinong binoto mo. Dati kasi magugulat ka na lang sa resulta
I think malaki din tulong ng media. I mean, kung hindi naman dahil taga-media tayo, pero and then yung social media, yung mga netizens, kasi ang daming gumawa nung parang how to vote. What to do,
apps,
what not
diba?
to do. Tapos may mga drawing pa. And I think yun kumalat ng kumalat hanggang kanina habang nagbobotohan, may mga reminder pa na kunin niyo po yung resibo, tapos tingnan ninyo yung resibo nyo kung pareho yung inyong binoto. Kasi yung mga concerns ng iba na hindi ko binoto lahat. Baka kasi nakalimutan niya, biro mo ang binoto niya, ilang pirasong tao, abot ng 20. I don't think we can remember 20 names all at once, di ba? Lalo na siguro yung senators, councilors. Hindi mo kakayanan.
Because before the election, the Comelec commissioners, di ba, they had agreed and banked that having receipts was not a good idea. Kaya nireject nila yung
Supreme Court.
In fact, that's in the law, pero nireject nila yon. And of course, their decision was overturned by the Supreme Court. But yung Comelec kasi, they were saying na madedelay yung mga pila, yung proseso, magkakaroon ng mas maraming dayaan dahil nga gagamitin nga yung resibo as proof na bumoto sila for one candidate or another. Pero nandito kanina si Comelec Commissioner Louie Gia, and he seemed quite happy to admit that maybe Comelec was wrong on this account.
Buti na lang, no? Kasi initially, that's why they opposed it. Kasi nag-time and motion studies daw sila. Na pumapasok na 13 seconds kada voter, so more than 2 hours. Pero sa nakita naman natin sa eleksyon, no, hindi naman, kumbaga kaunti lang na disenfranchise dahil naging flexible din ng Comelec sa pag-extend ng voting hours. So,
Actually, parang kanina napansin ko rin doon sa mga napuntahan naming presinto, yung mga tao, like what Ms. Malu was saying, alam na kasi nila what to, ma'am or Miss pareho, alam na nila what to expect So, parang, so, pag hindi na follow according to what they were expecting, then parang they immediately tell the BEI, pero wala namang tension or no malice right away. So parang at least may parang pagkakaintindihan yung BEI tsaka yung voter. So walang sisihan ka agad, 'di ba?
yes,
Tama ba?
Kasi syempre, may information naman sila, no? So, ang usually pinag-aawahan dyan pag may confusion. Halimbawa, yung voter hindi niya alam na ito palang dapat gawin. Tapos aawahin niya si BEI, ito naman ang sinasabi ni BEI. Yun ang usually bangayan dyan. Pati watcher, di ba?
Kumpara dun sa dating pag may mga watcher, tapos babasahin yung boto. Parang, hindi yan yung tapos buburayan. Parang, kanina talaga nag-o-observe na lang sila Yun ang pagkakaiba Pero yun nga, ang nangyayari lang, talagang di maiwasan problema sa VCM pag minsan. Kung anong dahilan.
Yung issue sigurong hindi fully settled, attorney, yung sa biometrics. Kasi mukhang yung iba talagang akala nagpa-biometrics.
Pero hindi pala.
Hindi pala. Pangalawa, yung question ng mga patay pangalan ng mga patay. Kasi dati tinanong na namin din yan sa COMELEC. Nasa Book of Voters ang mga pangalan ng mga lahat ng rehistrado. Wala tayong death registry sa Pilipinas. So pag kinontrapunto mo yun, wala kang ka-cancel out, hindi pwedeng mag-cancel out,
Yes,
di ba? So, nandoon talaga sila, hindi dahil inintend na...
walang malis doon.
Mahirap matanggal yung mga sabing patay doon. Actually, malaking trabaho yan. Dati pa sinasabi ng COMELEC, yung Book of Voters, at saka yung ngang, kaya may biometrics na registration na para makumpleto. I think our public registries, our records are really such a mess. You don't even know, di ba? Wala tayong birth registry na national, wala tayong death registry na national. So talagang wala tayong ID na composite we could use for government services we want. So ang daming problema.
Mabalik lang po ako dun sa
Ulit ako.
campaign strategy ni Mayor Duterte. Kung di ako nagkakamali, para may mga dating
Kapareho
tauhan
kay
si Erap na nasa loob ng campaign team niya. Hindi kayo na-template ng grupo na yun kung paano i-apply naman ni Mayor Duterte yung dating ginawa ni Mayor Erap o ni Presidente Erap.
Ang dinig ko, may isa nga nagsabi daw na professor kay Erap, parang pareho kayo ng imahe. Hindi daw
Siga.
ganong masaya si Erap yata sa comparison. Hindi ko alam kung ano yung punto. Anyway, pero, I mean, sa totoo lang, yung political branding is really the name of the game itong election na to. And they paid a lot of money. The creatives are telling us na parang, ganyan yung storyline nila. Parang, di ba, mga linya-linya, slogans, taglines. Kung titingnan mo, ewan ko kung ako personal ko lang na observation, liban dun sa anggulo ng lutasin yung drugs o yung droga, yung campaign slogan ni Mayor Duterte, actually, yun yung kay Pinoy noong 2010. Kung walang corrupt, walang mahirap. Di ba? Parang with a new dressing, parang ganon, the drugs angle. I don't know, parang pareho yun eh. But I hope really he keeps to his deadlines. Yun lang yung problem,
The 6
sabi nga ni
months,
Pia.
yes.
Taas ng bar.
Okay, before we leave the discussion, gusto ko lang banggitin, no? Kasi na pinag-uusapan natin si Duterte, he's got a big lead now, no? Kaya nag-concede din si Grace po. Pero in the vice presidential race, yung latest figures, dikit ang laban,
That's
no?
right,
Bongbong Marcos and Leni Robredo. In fact, may mga tao sa Facebook na babasa ko. Kanina kasi, ang laki ng lamang ni Marcos, no? 500,000. Pero ngayon,
lumiliit.
Ngayon lumiliit. So yung mga kaninang umiiyak because Robredo supporters sila, baka nagbabago na yung nagkakaroon sila ng pag-asa.
197,000.
So this is really this is going to go down to the wire, no? 84% na yung transmission, pero
Partial unofficial.
partial and unofficial, pero ito halos 150,000 lang ang lamang ni Marcos ngayon. So
Nail biter, no?
oo, that's the exciting part of this
Interested
race.
din sila dahil parang unlike sa presidential race, si Miss Leni naman, yung pinakakakaiba doon sa 6 sila. Kasi napakaikli ng tenure in public office. Wala pang masyadong parang record na kontrobersiya. In fact, yung sympathy or empathy for her life story dahil kay Secretary Jessie Robredo. So, and then of course, yung mga parting shots niya na last woman standing or may the best woman win. Tapos when she talks, yun abogada, tumulong sa talaga nag-public interest law. So, merong klaring hatak. The people who had heard her for the first time will tell you na parang okay pala siya. Parang, so nag-take off yung trajectory ng kanyang rise sa ratings, ang bilis. And the LP people were saying, maybe if he only had 1 or 2 more months, sure ball na daw sila kay Leni.
Yeah, but